Throwaway account for obvious reasons. I don't even know where to begin. I'm not the type to post on forums about my life, but I honestly don't know who else to talk to anymore. This all feels like a fever dream, and I've been walking around like a ghost for the past couple weeks. Maybe getting it all out will help me think straight. I, 32M, have been married to my wife, 31F, let's call her Laura, for 6 years. We met in college. One of those picture-perfect relationships in the beginning. She was charming, confident, could walk into a room and own it. I always felt like the quiet one, more reserved. People liked me well enough, but Laura? Laura stunned people. She had this effortless charisma that drew people in. That charisma, I now realize, was also her best weapon. We got married after 2 years of dating. Moved into a modest house in the suburbs, got a dog, started building a life. She was always the planner. I'm the overthinker. She used to joke that I had a PhD in hesitation. I'd laugh, brush it off. I thought it was just her way of keeping us balanced. But looking back, I ignored some big red flags. Little things, you know? She was always vague about her past, ex-boyfriends, old jobs. She had different versions of the same story depending on who she was telling it to. She once told me she hated lying, that it made her physically sick. But I'd catch her lying to other people, saying she was out with friends when she was clearly at home watching TV, or calling in sick to work when she just wanted to go shopping. I thought, everyone fibs sometimes. She never lied to me, right? I chalked it all up to stress, or personality quirks, or she's just better at playing social games than me. I wanted to believe she was just smarter, more adaptable, more confident. But recently, things have spiraled. Fast. She's been working late more often. Like, really often. Her phone's always on silent. She's become snippy, impatient with me over small things. One night, I made a joke about her second job as a spy, and she snapped, hard. Cold stare, silent treatment for 2 days. That was not her. Then 2 weeks ago, she said she had a networking event downtown. She dressed up more than usual, like heels and full makeup, which isn't her thing for work stuff. I got this gut feeling, you know? Like my stomach had dropped through the floor. Something wasn't right. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I followed her. What I saw? I'm still trying to process. And that's where the unraveling began. So yeah, I followed her. I know how that sounds. I'm not proud of it. I've never done anything like that in my life. I always believed trust was the foundation of any relationship. But like I said, something in my gut just screamed that something was off. I waited a couple minutes after she left, grabbed my coat, and took an Uber downtown. I didn't want to risk her seeing my car. I even felt like a lunatic on the ride over. Like, what the hell am I doing? I'm tailing my wife. She said the event was at the Hilton, some conference thing for women in leadership. But when we got there was no event listed on the board. No conference. No gathering. No anything. I stood there like an idiot in the lobby, heart pounding. So I stepped outside to see if I could spot her. 10 minutes later, I did. She wasn't in the Hilton. She was across the street, at a wine bar, with a guy, tall, well-dressed, maybe late 30s, confident posture. They were already seated in a corner booth, laughing, leaning in. She touched his hand at one point, and I swear I felt something crack inside me. My first instinct was to storm over. Say something. Make a scene. But I froze. Just stood there across the street like some pathetic stalker, watching my wife flirt with another man like she'd done it 100 times before. I took a photo with my phone. Shaky hands. Blurry shot. Didn't care. I just needed proof that I wasn't crazy. She stayed there for over an hour. Then they left together. Not toward the parking lot. Not toward the hotel. But down a side street. I followed again, ducking behind trees and parked cars like I was in a goddamn movie. They ended up at an apartment building. He buzzed her in. She went inside. She was in there for 2 hours. I sat across the street the whole time. In silence. Just waiting. Numb. She came out alone. Fixed her hair on the sidewalk. Smiling to herself. She got in her car and drove home. And I sat there in that freezing Uber for another 20 minutes because I couldn't make my hands stop shaking. That was the moment I knew something had broken between us. Maybe it had been breaking for a long time. I just didn't want to see it. But that wasn't the end. No, that night was just the prologue to a much bigger unraveling. I got home maybe 10 minutes after she did. She was already in pajamas, curled up on the couch with her laptop open like nothing had happened. I stood in the doorway for a few seconds, just watching her. She looked up, smiled, and said, "Hey babe, you eat already." Eat? She just came back from sleeping with another man, and she's asking if I had dinner? I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. Like my skin didn't fit right. I sat down slowly and said, "How was the networking event?" She didn't flinch, didn't pause, just dove into this smooth, rehearsed story about a panel of guest speakers, a free champagne bar, and a woman named Maya who she swore I'd met at our wedding. I hadn't. She talked for 5 straight minutes. Zero stammer, zero hesitation. Eye contact the entire time. It chilled me to the bone. That's when I realized something deeper than just the cheating. This woman had lied before. A lot. She was comfortable lying. She could create fake people, fake details, and fake emotions like it was second nature. I stared at her, nodding, and thought, "You've done this before, haven't you?" Maybe not always with men, but with everyone. Friends, co-workers, me. Your entire life is a patchwork of bullshit stories. But I didn't confront her. Not yet. Why? Because suddenly, I wanted to know everything. I didn't just want to catch her cheating. I wanted to understand the scope of the lie I'd been living in. So I played along. Asked about the fake Maya. Asked which hotel ballroom they used. Asked how the speakers were. And she just kept weaving it, like a spider with a web full of names and quotes and inside jokes that never happened. That night, after she fell asleep, I sat in the bathroom scrolling through her phone. It was locked, but I knew the code. She thought I didn't, but I did. Most of the messages were wiped clean. Too clean. Like someone had deleted whole conversations and tried to cover their tracks. But no one's perfect. There was a hidden folder in her photo app. Not even password protected. Just tucked under a generic album title, Miscellaneous. Inside were photos of her and him. Different angles. Different days. Same guy. Same smile. Same hand on her thigh. I wasn't just dealing with a one-night stand. This was something ongoing. And I was about to find out just how deep it went. The next morning, I called in sick to work. Told my boss I had food poisoning. Truth was, I couldn't think straight. I barely slept an hour. Just laid there next to her in bed, staring at the ceiling while she breathed like she hadn't just detonated my entire world. The phone folder, the Miscellaneous album, had photos going back nearly 8 months. 8 months. And not just one guy. Not just him. There were photos with another guy too. Different setting, different vibe. A little older, maybe early 40s. Business casual, mostly restaurant selfies and hotel room mirrors. One with her wearing lingerie I'd bought her. A set she swore she didn't like and had never worn. I felt sick. But it wasn't just the photos. There were screenshots of Venmo transactions. $150 labeled wine and room. $80 for dog sitter. She had money coming in that I didn't recognize. I handle our finances. She always said budgeting stressed her out. I thought I knew every source of income we had. Nope. So I dug deeper. Checked our shared credit card. Hidden Amazon wish lists. Her laptop browser history. I started seeing names I'd never heard before. Burner email accounts. Hotel bookings I wasn't told about. Lyft rides from places she wasn't supposed to be. A secret Gmail calendar titled Consulting Meetings. She didn't just cheat. She built a shadow life. A full-on second schedule. Carefully curated to never overlap with mine. Meetings that didn't exist. Friends she never actually saw. Family visits that were just cover stories. Every time I thought she was in yoga class, or meeting up with her sister, or running errands, she was probably with one of them. I even found a selfie she took in a guy's bathroom. I recognized the tile pattern because it matched one of the background details from the bar night, the first time I followed her. The captions? That made it worse. Missed this smile. Felt like ours tonight. Crazy how easy it is when someone actually listens. Like she was the one being neglected. Like I was the distant one. I wish I could say I was just angry. But the first thing I felt was shame. Like maybe she was right. Maybe I was the boring, cautious, overthinking husband who didn't make her feel special enough. Maybe I got too comfortable, too safe. And she needed more. But then I remembered something. I loved her. I trusted her. I gave her everything. And she made me the fool. I don't know what came over me, but after about an hour of pacing, rereading messages, and trying not to scream into a towel, I decided I had to talk to him. The first guy? The one from the wine bar. There was a selfie in her hidden album where his work lanyard was barely visible. Enough to make out the company logo and a partial name. I reverse searched it like some kind of sad private investigator, and Unbelievably, I found his LinkedIn, cross-referenced it with a local business directory, and found a company number. I called, asked for him, said I was a potential client. They transferred me. He picked up on the third ring. Hello, this is Daniel. His voice made my skin crawl. It was too familiar, like I'd heard it through the walls and never realized. I took a breath. Hey Daniel, this is Laura's husband. Silence. Then a click. He hung up on me. That told me everything. 10 seconds later, my phone rang. A private number. I picked up and it was him. Listen, man, he said quickly. I didn't know she was married, all right? I swear to God. She told me she was divorced. I didn't even respond at first. I just breathed, slowly, trying not to yell, trying not to put my fist through the drywall. She said you'd split up a year ago, he continued. She said you were toxic, controlling. She never mentioned you had a dog, a mortgage, a ***ing shared Netflix account. I feel sick. She said I was controlling? I said, my voice cracking. I'm sorry, man. I don't want any part of this. I asked how long it had been going on. About 6 months. On and off. Started as casual. Then she started coming over more. Said she was looking for a reset in life. I didn't ask questions. That part really hit me, because that is something she used to say. Reset. She'd say it after arguments. After rough days. I just need a reset. I hung up after that. I didn't yell at him. He sounded genuinely shocked. Honestly, he seemed just as duped as I was. And that terrified me, because it meant she didn't just lie. She performed, played roles, built worlds, and I had no idea how deep it really went. That night, I slept in my car. She thought I was on a business trip. She texted me, "Good night, babe. Love you." I stared at those words, and for the first time in our marriage, I didn't respond. The next morning, I came home. I'd rehearsed what I was going to say all night. I imagined the scene, me calmly laying everything out, showing her the photos, reading the texts, and watching her world collapse under the weight of her own lies. But that's not what happened. When I walked in, she was making pancakes like it was Sunday brunch. Music playing, hair tied up. She looked over and smiled, like nothing was wrong. Hey babe, you're back early. I set my bag down and just stared at her. We need to talk, I said, my voice shaking. Now. She froze. Only for a second. But I caught it, the flicker of panic behind her eyes. Then she smiled again, like she could fix it with charm. What's wrong? I didn't answer. I walked over, pulled out my phone, opened the hidden photo album, and held it up. She didn't even blink. Didn't deny it. She just sighed, like I was the one being unreasonable. You went through my phone, she said, her tone icy now. That's a serious invasion of privacy. Are you kidding me? I almost laughed. Privacy? That's what she was going with. You've been sleeping with at least 2 other men, I said. One of them thought you were divorced. The other one? Well, I haven't gotten to him yet. She crossed her arms. So you're stalking me now? I was stunned. This wasn't guilt. It wasn't even remorse. She went straight to defense mode. Like I was the villain. Like I had violated her trust. I trusted you, I said. I built a life around you. And you made me the punchline. And then, without skipping a beat, she said it. You made me feel invisible. That's when I lost it. I slammed my hand on the counter, and our dog barked from the other room. My voice cracked. So your response was to cheat? To lie? To build an entire double life and tell strangers I abused you? Her eyes narrowed. I never said you abused me, she said quietly. I said you were emotionally unavailable. Same difference, Laura. Same ****ing difference. We argued for nearly 2 hours. She denied nothing. She admitted everything, but with zero remorse. Everything was my fault, somehow. I wasn't fun anymore. I didn't challenge her. I wasn't evolving. What was she evolving into? A pathological liar? Finally, I told her to leave. And that's when she laughed. You think I'm leaving my house? I paid the down payment, remember? I'd forgotten. Her parents helped us with the down payment. The house was legally in both our names. I couldn't kick her out. So I left. Again. But this time, I didn't go to my car. I went to a lawyer. I'd never been to a divorce lawyer before. Hell, I never thought I'd need one. I always pictured those offices as cold and fluorescent and full of awkward tension. But this one, warm office, books everywhere. A woman in her 50s named Marissa who didn't waste time with small talk. After I told her what happened. Cheating, Lying, double life? She didn't blink. Okay, she said. Let's start with what you don't know yet. I blinked. What do you mean? Men in your position usually find the affair and stop digging. But based on what you've told me, I can guarantee there's more. She was right. Marissa started asking sharp questions. Did Laura have any new credit cards? Did I notice any transfers or withdrawals I didn't recognize? Any recent large purchases, especially online? I hadn't even checked. I'd been so focused on the emotional side that I hadn't realized. She could have been stealing from me too. Marissa gave me a list of things to do. Pull all bank and credit card statements from the last 12 months. Run a soft credit check on myself to see if anything was opened in my name. Check for any PayPal or Cash App activity I wasn't aware of. And most importantly, do not confront her again until we had everything in writing. I told her I already confronted her. She gave me this look that was half pity, half, you dumbass. You gave her a warning shot, she said. Now she knows you're watching. She'll start covering tracks faster than ever. I left that office with a pit in my stomach. Not just because of what Laura had done, but because I was realizing I didn't really know the woman I married. The lying, the cheating. I thought those were the big things. But what came next? That was the real betrayal. So, per the lawyer's advice, I dove headfirst into the finances. I hadn't realized how disconnected I'd been. I handled our budgeting, sure, but I didn't micromanage it. Laura always said, let me handle my personal spending. It's my money too. And I respected that. Stupid me. First red flag, a credit card I didn't recognize on our joint bank account. It had her name only, but the payments were coming from our checking account. Monthly auto pays. Always just under $400. I called the bank and asked for a statement. They asked if I was authorized on the card. I wasn't. That's when I got a taste of how exposed I really was. Next step, I logged into our Amazon account. She had her own login, but the purchases still showed under our shared household address. And sure enough, there were gifts. Lingerie I'd never seen. Men's cologne. A fancy pin set engraved with initials that weren't mine. She had things shipped to a P.O. box listed under her maiden name. I found it because she once left the receipt out while printing return labels. That P.O. box. Been active for over 2 years. 2 years. And the Venmo transactions? Yeah, they were a gold mine of quiet evil. She labeled everything as vague, boring stuff like groceries, dog meds, cleaner. But the names attached to the transactions didn't match anyone I knew. Definitely not our vet. Or a cleaning service. I even saw one labeled tuition. Tuition. I had a meltdown right there at my desk. Heart racing, hands trembling, sweaty palms. She was paying someone's ***ing tuition, ***. So I looked up the name. Not a university. Not a friend. It led to a GoFundMe from a few months ago. Some 26-year-old creative writing student trying to fund his last semester at a liberal arts college. Openly gay, from the looks of his page. Nothing romantic. Then I saw the comments. Couldn't have done this without Laura Redheart, thank you always. So now she's cheating and playing patron saint to broke twinks on the internet? Was she funding entire lives on the side? I took screenshots of everything and sent them to Marissa, my lawyer. She wrote back in minutes. We need to freeze the accounts. Now. And that's when the shift happened in me. The pain was still there. The betrayal, too. But now? Now it was war. The next few days were a whirlwind of bank calls, document scans, lawyer emails. I froze the joint credit cards. Set up a new account in my name only. Redirected my paycheck. Locked down everything I could. I was moving fast now. Not thinking with my heart. Just survival mode. And honestly, it helped. The emotional fog started to lift. I wasn't crying anymore. I wasn't even angry. I was just focused. Laura, meanwhile, pretended like everything was normal. Smiled. Made dinner. Tried to initiate sex once, like nothing had happened. I turned her down cold. She gave me this pout and said, "You've been distant lately. Lady, ed 2 guys, paid a stranger's tuition and kept a second email under a fake last name. Don't act like I forgot to buy flowers, ***. But I didn't say anything. I just waited. Watched. Documented. Then one night, while she was in the shower, her iPad buzzed. It was synced to her iMessages. And that's when I found the last piece. There was a thread between her and a name I didn't recognize, Shelby. The messages were gushing. Like teenage girl texting a crush energy. Hearts. Baby talk. Kissing emojis. I can't wait to see you again, face blowing a kiss. But what stopped me cold was this one message. I can't believe he still has no idea about the baby. Face with tears of joy, I swear I'm going to lose it every time he talks about wanting kids. I read that 5 times. The baby? I scrolled up. Found the earlier texts. Ultrasound photos. A blurry selfie with a positive pregnancy test. Sent months ago. And then, I'm glad it's yours. I was so scared at first, but it never felt right to let him think it was his. I just sat there, staring at the screen. She had gotten pregnant and told someone else they were the father. She had slept next to me, hugged me, kissed me, talked about our future, all while carrying a child she knew wasn't mine. And then what? She miscarried? Had an abortion? Never said a word? She let me plan for a family while keeping that secret in her back pocket like a backup plan. I don't remember much of the rest of that night. I do remember sitting outside on the porch with a blanket around me, our dog curled up next to my feet, and just staring into space for hours. I didn't cry. I think I was beyond crying at that point. That was the moment I truly stopped loving her. Not out of bitterness. Just because she wasn't a person I recognized anymore. She wasn't my wife. She was a stranger wearing her skin. I woke up the next day feeling nothing. And in a weird way, that scared me more than the pain ever did. It was like I'd flipped a switch. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel betrayed. I just operated. I fed the dog, made coffee, brushed my teeth, packed a bag while she was out running errands, whatever lie that meant this time. Then I emailed Marissa, my lawyer, and said, I'm ready. She replied within an hour. Let's get her served. Quietly. We scheduled it for the end of the week. A process server would deliver the papers while she was at work. Clean. Precise. No drama. I'd be gone by then, staying with a buddy across town. I started clearing out everything that mattered. Birth certificate, passport, hard drives, personal files. I left the wedding album on the shelf. Couldn't even look at it. But then, something unexpected happened. The guy from the wine bar, Daniel, texted me again. Hey, I think you should know you're not the only one she did this to. That sentence stopped me mid-step. I called him right away. He sounded tired. Hollow even. And then he told me everything. After our last conversation, he started talking to someone else he'd seen Laura with, another guy she'd been with on and off. Turns out he thought he was the only one too. She told him she was single, just figuring things out after a divorce. Same story, same charm, same bedroom playlist, apparently. But it didn't stop there. Daniel found 3 more guys, all local, all thinking they were in exclusive relationships with her over the past 2 years. Some overlap, some not. One of them even met her parents, or at least she said they were her parents. Turns out they were actors at some immersive dinner theater she frequented. I'm not joking. She hired strangers to play her family to sell the illusion. I thought I'd reached the bottom of the rabbit hole. But this woman? She dug tunnels. She built lies with blueprints and backup plans and props. One guy said she'd told him I was her abusive ex-husband, stalking her from another state. Said she had to keep moving to avoid me. He showed me texts. She used me as a villain to gain sympathy. She used my actual existence as a prop in her twisted soap opera. I felt sick again. But I also felt something else for the first time in weeks. Rage. Clean. Focused. Cold. This wasn't just infidelity. It wasn't even just deception. It was a goddamn psychological game. And we were all pawns. So I decided then, I wasn't just leaving. I was going to burn the whole thing down. After hearing about all the other guys, I knew Laura's web of lies was bigger than I thought. It wasn't just about me or our marriage. It was about control and manipulation on a whole different level. So, instead of just quietly signing the divorce papers, I decided to gather every shred of evidence I could find. Pictures, messages, bank statements, screenshots from her secret accounts, even recordings I'd made of some of her suspicious phone calls. I sent everything to Marissa with one simple message. Use it. She nodded, well, in the metaphorical sense, via email. Her plan was smart. Use the evidence to negotiate a settlement that guaranteed I wouldn't get screwed financially and that she wouldn't try to pull any more fast ones. Meanwhile, I created a separate folder on my laptop labeled Laura's Lies and kept updating it daily. I also started talking to the other guys Daniel connected me with. We formed this weird support group of betrayed men, sharing stories, venting, planning. One guy was a teacher, another worked at a tech startup, and another was just some random dude from a gym. Different backgrounds, same story. Laura was a master of deception. I realized this wasn't just about me anymore. It was about exposing her for what she was. Not out of revenge, but to protect anyone else from falling into her trap. Then came the day the papers were served. She freaked out, of course, but the look on her face when I laid out the evidence was priceless. No more lies. No more pretending. She begged, lied, promised she'd change. I didn't even flinch. I told her it was too late. Because sometimes the truth is the only thing that sets you free. After the papers were served and the dust settled, I finally felt like I could breathe again. It was surreal, like waking up after being trapped underwater for years. The house felt emptier, quieter. Laura's things were gone. No more secrets hidden in drawers. No more lies whispered at night. At first, I was numb. I'd thought I'd be angry forever. But that fury slowly faded into a deep sadness. I mourned the future I thought we'd have. The kids we might never get. The life we built on foundations that were nothing but quicksand. But the worst part was learning to trust myself again. I'd spent so long ignoring the red flags, doubting my gut, convincing myself I was just overreacting. Now, I had to relearn how to listen. I started seeing a therapist, which honestly I never expected to do. It helped me unpack the mess inside my head and confront the pain without spiraling. I reconnected with friends I'd drifted away from during the marriage. It turns out, a good beer and honest conversation are surprisingly therapeutic. Most importantly, I began setting boundaries. No more secrets. No more blind trust. If someone wanted to be part of my life again, they had to be real and honest, no exceptions. It was hard. It still is. But every day, it gets a little easier. So, after everything, what did I really learn? Honestly, more than I ever wanted to. 1. Trust your gut. I had those nagging feelings early on. The little white lies, the "I'm just tired" excuses, the late nights without a real explanation. I pushed those aside because I wanted to believe in us. Don't do that. Your instincts are often screaming for a reason. 2. People can surprise you, in the worst ways. I thought I knew Laura. Turns out, she was a professional liar with a talent for manipulation. That's not anyone's fault but hers. But it hurt to realize how little I really knew. 3. Emotional pain can be numb and sharp at the same time. 1 minute I was raging, the next I was hollow. It's a weird, exhausting roller coaster. Don't be ashamed to seek help when you're on that ride. 4. You're not alone. Connecting with the other guys was a game changer. There's this strange comfort in knowing someone else's story mirrors yours. It doesn't fix everything, but it makes the isolation less suffocating. 5. You can rebuild, even if it feels impossible. It's cliché, but it's true. Healing isn't linear, but every step forward counts. And sometimes, you find strength you didn't know you had. I'm not going to pretend I'm okay now. Not yet. But I'm moving forward. And that's enough for today. The hardest part was accepting that some chapters don't have happy endings. I had to come to terms with the fact that Laura, who I thought was my partner, my best friend, was gone. Not just physically, but emotionally and morally. I spent a lot of nights staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was broken or just unlucky. Wondering if I'd ever trust anyone again. The idea of starting over felt terrifying. But I realized something. The future is mine. No one else controls it. So I started small. Took up running again, something I'd stopped when life got chaotic. Rejoined a book club. Focused on my work, my hobbies, my mental health. I'm learning to be okay with being alone, for now. I'm not rushing into another relationship. Not because I'm bitter, but because I want to build myself back up first. I deserve honesty. I deserve respect. And I'm going to be damn sure I don't settle for less. It's scary, yeah? But it's also kind of empowering. This whole mess. It broke me in some ways, but it also taught me to fight for myself. And that's something no liar can take away. So here we are, at the end of this mess. If you've made it this far, thanks for sticking with me through the ugly truth. Here's what I want anyone going through something similar to know. You're not crazy. When someone lies to you over and over, it messes with your head. You start doubting yourself. But trust me, if your gut is yelling, listen. Don't ignore the signs. Small lies are often the first cracks. Don't sweep them under the rug hoping they'll disappear. Get support. Whether it's friends, family, or a therapist, don't isolate yourself. Talking it out saved me more times than I can count. Protect yourself. Document everything. Don't be afraid to get legal help. Your peace of mind is worth it. Know your worth. You deserve someone who respects you, who tells the truth, and who builds with you, not tears down behind your back. I won't lie, this experience left scars, but it also taught me how strong I can be. If you're struggling right now, just remember, the pain won't last forever. You will get through it. And when you do, you'll be wiser, tougher, and more ready for the real love you deserve. Thanks for reading. Stay strong out there. A guy who learned the hard way.